Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolf Pit with another episode of What Are We Eating? A couple years ago, I'd like to say I created candied spam. I'm really not sure if I really created candied spam, but I've never seen it done before, so until I see that someone did it before me, I'm going to consider myself the creator of candied spam, also known as crack spam. Appropriately named by you, the people, because once you make it and once you try it, you just can't stop eating it. So if somebody did make candied spam before me, please keep it on the down low and let me still believe I created candy spam so I can continue to be a legend in my own mind. Don't burst my bubble. So to make an already long story short, I found this can of classic flavored spam macadamia nuts, and I had absolutely no idea what to do with them in a video. So I did what any other living legend in their own mind would do. I combined the candied spam or crack spam with the spam flavored macadamia nuts, and I made spam cookies, of course. I mean, is that or is it not the most logical thing to do in spam flavored macadamia nuts? So on September 23rd, 2019, Spam released their limited edition pumpkin spice spam. And I'll admit, right off the bat, I said to myself, "Self, it's a joke. It's a scam. Nothing good can come out of this. Avoid your temptations and stay away from pumpkin spice spam." Well, I may be a legend in my own mind, but I have the willpower of a gnat, and I immediately ordered 2 cans. But don't judge me. I bought this for you, the people, so you didn't have to. Well, I have this problem. I'm an instinctive buyer. I'll buy things that I don't need or have no use for, and then try to figure out something to do with them or just get rid of it. So just like with the can of macadamia nuts, I had no idea what to do with these 2 cans of pumpkin spice spam. On the cans of pumpkin spice spam, it shows cubed up spam on top of waffles with whipped cream. It doesn't sound too bad, but it's very boring. I felt I owed it to you, the people, to do something a little bit more creative with the pumpkin spice spam. I did the obvious and made a pumpkin spice spam pumpkin pie cheesecake. And here's how we did it. Obviously, you have to open up the can of pumpkin spice spam first. When you open up the can, you immediately get the strong pumpkin spice aroma. It's not an overwhelming aroma, but rather the aroma your house would have if you were baking a pumpkin pie. As you can see, the color of the spam is much different than original spam, obviously due to the seasonings. So Mrs. Wolf Pit put her knife skills to use and cut off a thin slice for us to try right out of the can. Spam on its own will make my mouth water, but the spam combined with the pumpkin spice, I was drooling like a rabid dog. So into my pie hole it went. And I've got to say, I was very pleasantly shocked at the flavor of the pumpkin spice spam. I was expecting a very subtle pumpkin spice flavor, but that wasn't the case at all. But it had a very good prominent pumpkin spice flavor that complemented the spam, but still let you enjoy the flavor of the spam. Then it was time to make the pumpkin spice spam crack. And all you need to do is cube up your spam, place the cubed spam into a skillet over medium-high heat, along with the other half of the piece we tried out of the can cold, because of course we have to try a piece fried, and then mix and occasionally let the spam brown and render for about 5 minutes. After a few minutes, our slice of pumpkin spice spam was nice and browned and ready for me to try. Now it certainly smelled and looked delicious. Let's just hope it tastes delicious. So into the old pie hole it went. And it certainly didn't let me down, but just like with regular spam, I prefer it straight out of the can. So once all our pumpkin spice spam was browned up, it was time to turn it into crack. And all you need to do is add some brown sugar. Then once your brown sugar's been added, constantly stir it. Don't walk away or the sugar will burn and it'll turn all bitter and you have to throw it away. Once the brown sugar and the spam have cooked for about 3 minutes, remove it from the heat and onto a plate and make sure you have it separated. Otherwise, you're going to have a big hard rock of candied spam. While our spam is cooling and getting hard, let's make the batter for our cheesecake. In a large bowl, combine 2 blocks of cream cheese, which is a total of 16 ounces, and 3/4 cup of firmly packed brown sugar. And then give it a good mix with a hand mixer. Once the cream cheese and brown sugar are thoroughly mixed, add 15 ounces of pumpkin pie filling, and then give it another good mix with the hand mixer. And like you guys have heard me say before, I'm no baker, and I don't understand why we can't just throw everything in the bowl and mix it up. Thankfully, Mrs. Wolfpit was here to take control of the baking part. Next, add 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour, and then we're going to add 3 eggs, but the recipe says to add 1 at a time and mix between each egg. That's the type of thing that really confuses me as a non-baker. What difference would it make if you added 3 eggs at once versus 1 at a time? Now add the second egg and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then give it another good mix. And finally, add the third and final egg. And 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice extract. Now give it one final mix. Now let's give our candied Spam a good mix and just listen to how crunchy it is. I tried a piece of the pumpkin spice candied Spam first before we mixed it in with the cheesecake mix. And I've got to say, it's every bit as good, if not better, than the original cracked Spam. So before I ate the whole plate of pumpkin spice candied Spam, we had to put it into the batter. Then give it a good mix to get all the candied Spam combined. Once everything was combined, we ladled the mixture into 2 store-bought graham cracker pie crust. If you want to make your own pie crust, that's even better. Once the pie shells are filled, the pies go into a 350-degree oven for 50 minutes. And then after they bake for 50 minutes at 350 degrees, they rest for 2 hours, and then they go into the refrigerator. Now here's our finished pumpkin spice Spam pumpkin cheesecakes, and I think they both turned out looking pretty good. The first one, the crust seemed to stay together better, but the second one looked like it got a little bit crumbly. I think we might have accidentally bought 2 different brands of pie shells, or 2 different types of pie shells. Either way, it didn't end up affecting the taste at all. So Mrs. Wolfpit got her knife skills going again, and very carefully cut us a beautiful slice of pumpkin spice Spam pumpkin cheesecake. And I couldn't have asked her to do a nicer job. The slice turned out absolutely perfect. As you can see, there's going to be Spam in every bite. So there you have it, our 2 finished slices of pumpkin spice Spam pumpkin cheesecake pie. That's a mouthful. And you know I wasn't going to try this without whipped cream. You gotta have whipped cream with pumpkin pie, especially with Spam pumpkin pie. And just by looking at that, if you didn't know there was Spam in there, you wouldn't know until you took a bite of it. So we went in for the first bite. And it certainly looked good to me. What say you, the people? So into the old pie hole it went. Ha, get it? Pie hole? In the literal sense this time. The texture of the pumpkin pie cheesecake was super creamy. Not as cheesecakey as I thought it would be. I don't know if that's just because of the recipe or what. It seemed a little light for a cheesecake, which to me is a good thing. I love the creaminess of the pumpkin pie cheesecake, and then the contrast of textures when you bit into the crunchy candied Spam. But then when you got through the crunchy on the outside of the candied Spam, you get the moist, meaty texture of the Spam, which gives your taste buds one last punch of pumpkin spice. I already knew, but was still disappointed that Mrs. Wolf Pit wasn't going to try it. She doesn't like pumpkin pie or pumpkin spice, but she does love Spam. My daughter had just gotten home when we took these out of the refrigerator, and I gave her a piece to try, and she loved it. But then she asked what the crunchy stuff was inside. As soon as I told her what it was, she didn't take another bite, which frustrated me, because she liked it before she knew what was in it, and then when she knew what was in it, she didn't like it anymore. So that led me to take drastic measures. I cut up a few slices and took them over to a few neighbors. I let them know that it was pumpkin spice Spam, pumpkin cheesecake pie. After they gave me funny looks, I asked them to please text me what they thought of it. Some of the people didn't like Spam to begin with, some didn't like pumpkin pie to begin with, some didn't like either, or some liked one or the other. But they all said they'd give it a try. So it was a mixed group, and I got very mixed opinions. Not everyone was crazy about it, but the one that made me the happiest was the person that tried it that doesn't even like Spam, loved it. They said if all Spam tasted like that, they'd eat it every day. So as with all foods, everyone's not going to like the same thing. And some people mentally make themselves not like something before they even try it. And I gotta admit, pumpkin spice Spam does sound a little weird. But I'm really glad I tried it because I really loved it. And I would certainly buy it again if it was available all the time. Thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, and share it with your family and friends. And I'll see you soon.